Hi folks, it's Laura here from Healing with Spirit. Just figured I would chime in with you. I've been sitting here writing notes like crazy, pulling cards as I normally do because I typically like to go into silent mode when I pull cards regarding the political nature of our climate right now. And what I would like to share is if you haven't first of all watched my 2025 election predictions, that I did. You can catch them on my podcast, Triggers and Spiritual Medicine, on the lives as a post because we're talking about sensitive things. So we've been doing this for a while. We've been seeing a lot of things coming. So far, everything I have shared in the 2025 election is coming true, at least for the month of March. Everything that I had predicted, talking about it being a turn. Please make sure and let me know in the comments. Don't forget to hit the heart buttons. Please make sure and let me know in the comments. Don't forget to hit the heart buttons so we can get greater visibility. But we did say that April was going to be a pivotal month, okay? And no, it doesn't have to do with April Fool's Day, but it's going to be a pivotal. And no, it doesn't have to do with April Fool's Day, but it's going to be a pivotal month. And I think this thing with all that chat that went public, also the things coming out from the German government about other things, about how compromised information was even further compromised, I think we're going to start seeing more things might be coming to fruition that might put our current regime in with a new power. There might be a new power coming in. There might be with a new power. There might be a new power coming in. There might be there's gonna be a lot happening between now and June. So put your questions in the there's gonna be a lot happening between now and June. So put your questions in the comments. But here's what I got so far. I think there's a power play going on, especially after that chat, especially since Musk isn't getting everything he wants like he likes, and that is bothering him. Trump, on the other hand, I feel is trying to do damage control so he can implement the next phase of Project 2025. With that said, I think there's a lot of things showing up here in 2025. With that said, I think there's a lot of things showing up here. Here I feel with Trump there's a lot of maneuvering. So be aware of what you hear on the news, what you hear politically. Use it through discernment. Remember, the word for the year for 2025 is the word discernment. But there is a question which didn't show up before, but it's showing up now, interesting. I didn't see it before. Whether or not Musk might want to voluntarily distance himself from Trump because of what might be coming ahead. And for him to kind of save face, he might be bowing out, especially with the whole dump of Tesla stock and the boycott impact internationally. They thought they can contain it here in this country, not realizing that Canada, Europe, they're all not buying it. They're understanding the power of the money on an international level. So as I said, I am still feeling there's going to be a big power shift from the end of June to possibly the beginning of July or mid-July. I'm not sure, still getting clarity as far as what that looks like, but I do see that Musk is at a huge crossroads. This is showing that he is at a huge crossroads right now, and he has to think logically, which he hasn't been thinking logically. He's been like a little child, and having temper tantrums and really doing that teenage kind of behavior of impulsive decisions, impulsive actions, and that is not good for public safety. Okay, so there's a lot of things being done on a very irresponsible way, and I think there's a wrecking ball coming. They know it, so therefore what I see happening, and I have no idea what this thing going across my screen is, so sorry, that gives gets me off my track. But yeah, I just feel like there's between the crossroads happening, and I do see this thing with this chat thing that happened that got out, is really highlighting some serious security issues. We're dealing, look guys, I don't care what political spectrum you're on, but we're dealing with people that are juvenile behavior that have their fingers on nuclear weapons. Okay, things are going to intensify in April, and just like we know Trump probably staged that incident last summer, a lot of us saw that, and we know that was probably staged because there's been nothing about it, nothing about the shooter. There's been nothing. I mean, and in every presidential history, there's always been a follow-up on who the shooter was and everything else. There hasn't been. I wouldn't be surprised if another staged event happens. This time, yeah, I'm hesitant at putting it on because this is showing here in the month of April Trump's desperate attempts to try to, garner control, one last ditch effort. And what is somebody who is narcissistic, sociopathic, whatever you want to call it, what they have, what can happen is they can, try to do some serious things on this soil. Now, it doesn't say that will happen, because there is a lot of things, as I said in my forecast, that's at play. And I think there's going to be, and I still feel there might be international intervention. Part of that international intervention came out last week with Germany writing the article exposing the fact that not only in that chat were secrets leaked, but emails of these individuals were also leaked. So I think we might be seeing more of that. I am praying for international intervention, because if not, we will have to prepare ourselves for potential violence on American soil. It has been brewing, it has been escalating. Now, if that does happen and that does go that way, I'm trying to be optimistic. It won't last long. I feel like whatever's going to be revealed throughout the month of April will be the catalyst that is the downfall of the current administration. And with that said, this month is going to be very, very, very telling. Do your due diligence. Don't stick your heads in the sand. I'm going with a friend of mine for gun safety training and a few other things. So, not that I will have a gun, I just want to be smart. But I'm also not going to panic, because panic doesn't help you in crisis or chaotic situations. So it's hugely important to make sure that you balance out, and you balance out the need to take action. Watch your consumption of information, because we all know what's coming. I tell people all the time, we know what's coming. It's like it's a signed deal. Now we just have to figure out what is our role and how do we stop it. Is that going out into the streets? Is it making sure that your family is protected? Is it that you take your money out of the bank and you stick it in the ground somewhere? Because guess what? That was the other thing I did hear from Spirit last week. something might happen with the banking industry, and I'm not sure what. I'm not getting a clear picture, but when Spirit tells me to start paying more things with cash and less with credit cards or Venmo or Zelle or any of those cash apps, I feel like there's going to be a tech breach or a security breach. So, and this isn't a warning to go, oh my God, like I gotta freak out and like, no, it means just pivot to how do you start paying cash. Those of us that are old enough, like I just said to somebody yesterday, when I pay cash, I don't have to think about it. It's done. I don't have to worry about this app crashing and did that money send, did it not send? And then it creates all this hoopla in my head. Cash may not necessarily be a bad thing. There's a reason why Trump wants to get rid of cash, why Musk wants to get rid of cash. And I'm saying here, telling you right now, cash is king, okay? At least for the next couple months, try to pay everything cash, all right? The other thing I keep seeing is that the Ten of Swords here, because since this is reversed, this is Trump, this is basically showing that the unraveling that I am predicting with the whole espionage and takedown, whatever is going to happen, I feel is going to be very slow, even though things are happening really fast. What I mean by that is it's not going to be a one-off, hey, he's here today, gone tomorrow. It's going to be like Cory Booker was on 13 Hours divulging stuff and things that we don't hear about even on the media, because the media is scared too. So they're not saying things, they're not voicing things against the Trump administration out of fear as well. So, and those that are have been fired. Have you noticed? So the bottom line is that what we're seeing is Trump is staving off any more future exposure. So he's doing damage control. Versus Musk is kind of going in there and saying, I want to go in there and charge. I'm kind of high on drugs. I see this is like a billionaire kind of game to him. He sees the American economy as like a game that he can play with, like monopoly money, and not understanding the real ramifications. And I think because of that is why we're going to see their downfall. They are seeing this like this elitist kind of game, like a poker game, like a match, like they're all betting against each other. And they're not realizing and putting the human involved, that there's actually human lives involved. There are actually real people involved. And don't be surprised if we start seeing more Luigis. Okay, there is a forecast. I think one of my astrologer friends said something about, potential violence, and other things. But let's see if there's anything else. Put your questions, by the way, if you have questions in the comments, so I can answer them for you. I'm just trying to see what I think. So basically, April's going to be like a chess move month rather than a media collapse. So because there are forces, the people are uniting. A lot of MAGA are dropping because they're realizing it's affecting them. But here's the thing, MAGA, if you voted for Trump and you're having second thoughts, you need to really do a deep dive, because a lot of people aren't going to come to your side knowing that you are culpable and responsible for this. So you need to do a deep dive and really do some deep searching on yourself and figure out how or where the blind sides happened, and work on that piece, okay? Whether it's the vax movement, and I'm not buying that you voted for somebody for a vax while putting every single BIPOC person and woman in jeopardy. You're willing to overturn, abortion for a vax. Like, I'm not saying both aren't valid. What I'm saying is that you're intentionally doing harm to try to get another verdict, and you're not going to get what you're thinking. Okay? So that is what is happening. Any questions? By the way, the recent solar eclipse that we had could be a breaking point. If you've noticed, Trump has been a little bit silent on the past day or so. And I think it's because there's legal consequences, real legal consequences. We're dealing with revealing classified information and the level of chat as if it was a war game, not like real people dropping bombs on innocent civilians in Yemen. So I think there's going to be a mounting escalation against on a unified front internationally. And so whether or not Trump invades Greenland or invades Canada to try to spark something to take the pressure off of him being removed as president, or Musk being removed from the White House, is to be seen right now. Just know that all those are in play right now, and it's just a matter of really getting yourself centered and grounded so you know how to show up. This Mercury retrograde has been revealing a lot of these deceptions, and you can't backtrack certain things. And I think that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to backtrack, and you can't backtrack certain things. You can't backtrack that you stopped services for veterans and Social Security and all these things. And we've already seen it just in the 70 days, right? I'm going to fire everybody. Then, oh shit, no. Those are the people that hold the codes to the nuclear weapons. We can't fire them. And then just to go back to the onboarding to get them back in there. That is creating a national security issue. And people need to wake up to that. That it's bigger than all of this that we're talking about here. All right, we're dealing with people with their hands on nuclear weapons. It's bigger. It's bigger. Okay, we got Iran that's getting ready, that's being backed by Russia and China, right? So it's like World War III is potentially here. The EU advised all their people to prepare for war. Folks, we have to wake up. That if war is going to happen, it's going to happen this month. And I think if we do go to war, it's going to be taken out with a lot of, and it's going to be like a little because these people don't know how to get hurt. You're dealing with a guy who evaded the draft because he had a boo-boo on his toe. What the heck do you think is going to happen if they come after him and his family? Okay? You're going to have a lot of pissed off people. So, there's a lot of energies here. There's a lot of manipulation, but I do see him still getting caught. The energies are still showing me that everything is unfolding. We have to keep putting the pressure on. This is where we amp the pressure. This is not where we sit and rest. This is when we intensify. We do the protests. If you're, whether I think it's international, on Saturday, go to the protests. Don't be afraid and don't give in to the fear. Why to go? Here's the thing. If he's going to declare martial law, he's going to declare martial law whether or not April 5th happens. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But what is highlighting is that somehow by the end of the month, there's an unexpected shift. There's some sort of unexpected shift in global power dynamics. Okay? I don't know if it even has something to do with, this just happened. I don't know, maybe I need to pull apart on this. I just got another hit that whether or not there's a change in power in Russia. Not sure. Okay. There's some deep agents involved that might be exposing some things. So whether or not this is a CIA op, but I do see something getting ferreted out. Something is being ferreted out, and it has to do with money. It has to do with international money. So again, we're talking about espionage. I think the bombs and the war and all that stuff, that is billionaire boys want to play with our lives and drop bombs because they think it's fucking cool and because they're bored with their lives and they're unhappy, But, and I might know if I'm seeing any comments here, but Is any of this making sense to any of you? Let me know if you have questions. Put them in the comments. If you like this live, make sure you click the heart button. If you like the messages, send me a rose. But I can tell you, let me see what I have for China, or actually let's go to Israel. What do we have for Netanyahu? Okay, so the Justice card just fell out. So, and the Temperance card. So I feel like what we're battling right now, and I feel like Israel is key. And I'm not a religious person, guys. Like, I think all three religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, all have their extremist wings. Nobody is immune, including Buddhism. So, but I feel like this is a battle for the soul of the earth. And I feel like what's happening for power control right now in Israel and the whole resurgence of white supremacy happening globally, I feel like there's going to be something that's going to happen between now and summer solstice. I keep being shown summer solstice. And again, whether or not that is tied into, I'm not getting a clear picture of, I'm not getting a clear picture. These are all big cards. Something big is about to happen. Big, 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 big. Okay? It requires us to have faith. It requires us, if you have, I don't care what your religion is, talk to your God. Ask what your role needs to be. This is what I do. I always go up and I ask, what's my role? How can I be of service to help shift the current climate and what we're experiencing today? So for you, you might be wanting to do the same thing. Okay? So, and just see what you get, listening to your inner guidance. This is a 9 year. This is a shit or get off the pot year. What are you shedding? What are you letting go of? And a reclamation of snake energy, which is a reclamation of sovereignty, especially female sovereignty. So the Fool is here. What's your play? And if you're going to allow your triggers to run the roost, then you lost. If you've turned your triggers and listened to them like an inner GPS, you're going to find the treasure you're seeking. But you have to have perseverance and patience, and you have to be willing to go through the trenches. If you think this is going to be comfortable for everybody in this country, especially for white folks who've had the most privilege, get off your high horse. Because our children, our grandchildren's lives depend on this. Whatever we do in this month is going to set course moving forward. Do you understand that? The will of the people need to rise. There is a greater will of the people outside the U.S. showing up stronger than there is in the U.S. And we will not beat this unless the will of the people, meaning each and every one of us, not sitting here thinking that somebody else is going to fix it for us. You get off your duff, you get off your phone, you get off your laptop, and you get out into the streets. If nothing else and you don't know what to do, call your governor's office. Ask them what they're doing to protect the citizens of the state. Contact grassroots organizations. See how you can get involved. Get involved with the protest on Saturday. Show up. Be prepared. Okay? Go do self-defense training. Figure out how to safeguard your family. Put those systems in place. Okay? Put wills, estates. Like that shit too. We have to get that done too. Because if they have their way, we are at a crossroads. Everything that I'm seeing here is showing that we're at a crossroads. And it's up to the will of the people if we're going to stop it or not. Staying on top of our legislators, our elected officials. Contacting them. Spending more time in action mode than actually watching the news and trolling pages. Maybe having a weekly inviting people over to your house so you can have discussions and put together action plans for your neighborhood. What's going to happen if your mortgage defaults? What's going to happen if something goes offline with your banking? What happens if internet goes down? Okay? We're already looking at food scarcity. And we have to face, I'm all a believer of facing hard truths. We cannot heal if we dig our heads into the sand. We must face the hard truths in order to create the change. Okay? So, if nothing else, everything is, and it's still showing, this whole, again, Mercury goes retrograde again mid-July. That's a big opening window where, again, more past secrets could be exposed. So, and the full moon that's coming up in June has to do with the government and authority, the culmination of power shift. So there's a lot of things happening, things moving behind the scenes. Stop watching the memes. Stop engaging in back and forth banter with people that aren't really going to make a difference, nor do they care. Get into action mode. Everything I'm seeing is action mode. Okay? For every month that this shit goes on, you got to think we have a year to fix it. So now we have 3 years. If Trump is removed tomorrow, it's going to be 3 years, if not longer, to repair it. Okay? So if he stays in office for the full 4 years, and as he said, I forget what day it was the other day, talking about becoming the next Reich, that's going to impact our children, our grandchildren, and for generations to come. They are spending millions of dollars a day to pick up people and kidnap them off the street. They're taking your Social Security, your veterans benefits, your investments, your job, your taxpayer earned dollars to basically kidnap people. And people are dying in ICE detentions. Okay? If you're new on here, just remember, there's a web. They are looking to find a way to minimize damage control. So be very much on your toes about anything that might be coming out that kind of promotes them very godlike or saint-like. Because neither one of them, neither Musk nor Trump, is a saint. You don't need to know, you don't need to read a meme to see that. You just need to know history. Trump's entire history. Musk's entire history. Family lineages and the families that they were born into that had planned for generations for what we're experiencing now. Okay? As far as Israel goes, or the fate of them, what is the fate of the Palestinian people in Gaza? What do we need to know about the people in Gaza? Outside the fact that we know that they're resilient. Okay. So there's a lot of trauma happening with people in Gaza, which we already know, but that's just highlighting the fracture that's going to take generations to fix what just happened in the last 2 or 3 years. The leveling of Gaza is beyond traumatic. The starvation, the intentional starvation, the torture, the abuse, and the inhumanity. We all have to look at how we're complicit in that. But I'm hoping that what I am sharing with you is helpful. Yeah. Okay. Well, have a good day, everybody. Bye.